Good morning. Welcome to Homestead. I wanted to show you a few things that I use during when I'm foraging in here. A few of the tools that I use, different things. Now, of course, as you can tell, I have an anvil. This is a Vevor anvil. I bought it back about a year ago. I have a smaller one over here. I'll show you. I like this one right here. I mean, it's works perfect for my shop. And the stand that it's sitting on, 2x12. I cut them to size, right at 30 inches, I believe it is. Why do I have a chain on it? The chain dulls the sound of the anvil. An anvil will have an echo when you're hitting it, but it dulls it down to where it only sounds like that. If you didn't have that on there, it would ring real loud like a bell almost. Like $125, $130 for it. Now, this is the hammer that I use more than any of the rest of them. This is about 2.5 pound anvil, I believe. I mean hammer, I believe it is. I'm thinking that's what it is. And then this one is going to be about 3.5. It's a little heavier. And I do use this. I use this on railroad spikes. You know, if you're going to work with something like a railroad spike that's about a 1/2 inch by a 1/2 inch, you want something that's going to be able to taper it out. This will do it, but this will do in one strike what this will take multiple strikes to do. But anyway, you know, if you're starting off, I would recommend the smaller hammer to start with. It just is an easier hammer to use, and for most things that you make, especially when you're working with knives, that's going to get the job done as good as anything that you can possibly get. Now, another tool that I have is kind of a custom tool is this railroad spike holder. Get it up close where you can see it. When you use this, this slides in on the railroad spike and it holds it in place while you put it in the forge and take it out of the forge. So it's a real handy dandy little tool to use when you're working with those. For most of the work that I do, I just use this as a standard tool right here. It has grooves on the inside of it, so you know you can use it holding things, round things sideways, or if you've got something flat, it holds it straight. And it does have a little groove down the middle. You can widen that out if you need to where it'll hold a larger round bar or bar stock. When I'm getting ready to quench a knife, that's what I use right there. It holds it perfectly. Holds it perfectly going in and going out. It has the slots in it to close down on a knife. This will also close on round bar. That'll close on a larger one. The edge right here will close on a smaller one. Good little tool to use right there. Now, when I'm quenching a knife, there's two things that I use, and that is a magnet and my mark that I have on here. I put that on all of my knives, all of my forged items that I do. I use this little magnet, this little pickup tool. When I can put that on that knife blade and it's non-magnetic, that means it's ready to go in the quench. And I put it in. Before I do that, I heat it up enough that I can stamp it with this, and this puts my mark on it. So I have the mark, put it in the quench, good to go, ready to move on to the next step with it. A couple of inspiration. Another thing I used the other day on the horseshoe knife was this. This is a dressing hammer. If you want to take some of the divots out or smooth up your metal a little bit, I put it in there and I heat it to about 2,000 degrees right in there at 1900. And I'll sit here and tap this on it And what that does, that helps to smooth out the top. Now, it's not going to take all the divots out of it. You're going to do a lot of sanding work to get that done. But this cuts down on the amount of sanding work that you have. Now, this is a little one. They make them larger. I like the little one because that's the only time I really use it is on those horseshoe knives, which are novelty knives to use. I'll go ahead and say that. Uh, they're like the railroad spike knives. Those are all novelty items. There's a lot of things that you make that are good to use and good to have, and people like them to put up and show and all of that kind of stuff. And I do sell a good many of them. Another thing that I have that my good friend Kevin Huffman made for me, I use this to twist the railroad spike. This fits right over the edge of the spike, and you put it in the handle and you just twist it however many twists you want. One full twist, twist and a half. You can twist it in and untwist it backwards to make a design. A lot of things you can do with this. I got this one and I've got one that is a little smaller than this that I use as well. Now, as far as being able to make edges on knives, I use this and I love this one. And the reason I do, if you can see the little slit in it, you can slide your knife in that. All right. And then this slides down over it and you can twist it and get it on. And then your knife hangs over here. You make the groove in the edge or edge the knife down where you want it. And then instead of having to take it all apart like I did on my older ones, you can take it, if you unscrew that, turn it around, put it on this side, tighten these screws in the back up on it, and you're going the other way with it, putting the other edge on, and it gives you control of the edges on your knife, and it also allows you to see the size on one side so that you can get the other metrically the same size, so both of them look the same when you're turning them and looking at them. Great little tool. I used it the other day for the first time. I absolutely love it. Now, all right, as far as tools that I use, that's pretty close to everything that I use, but I'm fixing to show you a few more that I have around the shop that are pretty much essential for blacksmithing. All right, this is the small, you can see it, I've got it under here, the small handle that I have. I use it, and then of course, you've got to have a good vise. And this is a great vise. This is a used vise. I bought it the other day. It's an older vise, but it is exactly what I need to do my stuff with. Then I have this vise, which is actually one that was used for cutting pipe or holding pipe to be cut. It works perfect to put your rod in if you're going to cut it off at a certain length and use it. I mean, perfect for that. Then I have the forge over here. I have the 3-burner forge. I think that forge cost around $180, and then I had the gas company come out and hook up my gas to it straight from the tank into this with a high pressure regulator on it so that I get all of the heat that I can get through those individual burners. And one burner will do a whole lot. 2 burners only is going to push your heat out the front, which on some things that you want to heat up, you need 2 burners. I very seldom use 3 burners, and the reason is unless you're making a sword, or if you've got a long piece of metal and you want to heat one end up, you can either open the far end up and use this side, or you can crank that back burner up and stick it in and slide it all the way to the back. I've only done that about once or twice, so haven't used it that much, but I've had this for 2 years. Here I have a Grizzly sander. Now, this is my 2x72 inch sanding belt that I use. This is what I use to shape knives with. This is what I use to shape spatulas with. Anything that I'm working with that I need to get a shape on, that's what I use for that. And then of course I've got the Central Machinery drill press. This drill press, I got it from Harbor Freight. Wasn't that expensive. A little over $100. I've used it for 3 years now. Haven't had a minute's trouble out of it. You can actually lift this top off. This top comes off, and you can move your belts inside of it to speed it up or slow it down, depending on what you need to do. And of course, I use this little vise over here. This is what I use to hold most of my material when I'm cutting it. A vise is very essential for a blacksmith to use. Okay, over here, I have my plasma cutter. This is a HF 500, 5000D. It's great for cutting up to a 1/4 inch metal, or a 1/4 inch metal. It will cut. You have to pass it 2 or 3 times to cut. As far as an 1/8 of an inch, or uh, it will cut up to 3/16 really, really well. It'll glide through those a whole lot better, but it's a good tool to have and to use. And I have a few other things that I have. I've got a wet wheel over here. I use it occasionally, not as much as I thought I would when I got it. It's great if you're doing hatchets or throwing axes, putting a blade on it. It's got a jig that goes on it. Now, you can actually start blacksmithing if you really want to, and you want some good stuff to use. You can go to Harbor Freight. You can pick up an anvil. You can pick up a sander. The blacksmith stuff, you can pick up that hammer, and it comes with, I think it comes with this, which that right there is going to be, you're going to have one of those. You actually can use this for a lot more than you can some of the other ones that I have. I bought them out of necessity for what I was making. You can buy it. You can buy you can buy one of these forges like this, or you can go down to a 2 forge, 150, 160 bucks for it. I think altogether for less than $600, you can get set up to actually be able to forge out. That's with a gas forge. It runs off of a gas bottle. Now, if you want to do it with a coal forge, you can fix you up a brick platform with a pipe that runs into it for airflow. You can get an old hair dryer and set it back and turn it on low to run in there to keep your coals hot. There's a lot of ways you can go and go cheaper if you just want to get into seeing, or as I like to call it, wet your feet on making a knife or making anything for that matter. But this is what I have. This is what I use in here. I do know one thing. It's fun to do. It's enjoyable. And it's a great stress reliever. So y'all go out and look, buy, do. I hope this helps you some, give you a little information on some things to look at. And that's about all for today on that. Remember what I always tell you, no matter what kind of trouble you run into doing it, how difficult things get at times, and they do get difficult at times. Paul always said we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. It's not necessarily the source of power we have within us, but it's the source of power that Jesus Christ brings to the table. Y'all have a great day. Take care of yourself, and we'll talk to you later.